Alright, today on the channel we're going to be taking a look at a new product from J Machen. Got this from Amazon. This is their 2TB Emulation hard drive. So you get this neat little carrying case, you get the hard drive, you get the world's thinnest and smallest instruction manual. Of course you have the SATA USB hard drive cable, two controllers, an interesting little leather pouch for the hard drive, I suppose. And that is it. So for 2 terabytes, the retail price I think is $159. There's also a 500 gigabyte that you can get for around $90, I think it is. But I've tested the 500 gigabyte from Ken Hank, one of their competitors. So I thought I would test this one. Again, this is the 2 terabyte USB hard drive. Simple, easy to use. Like I said, you're just gonna plug this in, connect it to your computer of choice. Now this does run on Windows 8, 10, and 11, but it does have specific notice right here. It says this hard drive will only work with x86 hardware. Mac with PowerPC, CPU, or Apple Silicon will not work, so keep that in mind if you're a Mac user with one of those. For the most part, this is going to play anything and everything you possibly want as far as old school retro video games, depending completely on what you plug it into. Now this will also work for some Android powered TVs, but not all. So honestly, I would just advise against buying this and finding out if you're planning on playing this on a TV that your TV doesn't support it. So honestly, I would just stick to it if this is somebody out there that's got maybe an old laptop or an old PC that's no longer being used. This is something that'll be right up your alley because you have, like I said, all the games you could possibly want, retro games to play at the palm of your hand. It is a hard drive, so you can also add more games to it. So if you find for whatever reason there's not your favorite game on this hard drive, you'll be easy and able to load up whatever game you want to play on there. So over 40,000 games is what is advertising. Comes with these wireless controllers, has a USB dongle on the back, put some batteries in it. PlayStation 2 knockoff controllers. I always tell people these aren't the worst, they aren't the best, but honestly I would just advise against using them. Use whatever USB controller or arcade stick you want to use, and you'll probably have a grand old time as far as your gaming and everything like that. And for comparison's sake, we got this hard drive that looks like a cassette tape, and if you're curious, it is actually not the same size as a cassette tape. It looks the part, but it is not exactly the same size. It's a little bit bigger, a little bit taller, wider, everywhere, shape or form. But let's go ahead and plug it to the PC and see what it looks like. Okay, so when you power up the USB hard drive onto your computer, this is going to be the menu that you're greeted with. All your options for your game consoles and everything is going to be over to the right. So as you can see here, all games showing 47,802 games, and surprisingly, that is rather accurate. Most of the time I find these things to be over bloated with all sorts of duplicate files and things like that, specifically when you get into the arcade stuff. But for the most part, everything is really clean and very well organized. I'm very impressed. You get your box art, a little basic breakdown of the game, the year it was released, that kind of thing. But we got all sorts of systems from new to old. Goes all the way up to PlayStation 3, and goes all the way back to your basic Pong-esque games, but pretty much any system you could want to play on here. You can also load your own ROMs on here, so if you find some systems that don't have necessarily your favorite games, you just drag and drop those files into the appropriate folder on there. As far as menu settings, you're going to have to bring it up. If you've ever used RetroPie or anything like that, you're going to be very familiar with this. The first time you plug in a USB controller or arcade stick or whatever, you will have to configure it, but it's very straightforward. It just tells you to input the commands corresponding. There are save states, there are CRT filters, there's all sorts of different options and changes you can make. You can change the aesthetic of the background, you can change the aspect ratios, so if you want widescreen, with bezels, without bezels, you name it, all those options are in here. If you don't like looking at all the game selections over here, so obviously 81 systems is overwhelming for certain people, you can come in here and turn off the systems you don't want to see or don't want to play. Very easy to do that. You can change specific collections, so if you just want a beat 'em up collection or something like that, you can easily do that as well. Very simple to do. You can also do individual game change settings, so you don't have to necessarily make universal changes across the board. advanced game options is what it's called, so you can change the game aspect ratio for specific games. So if you like widescreen for certain games and then you want something vertical or normal aspect ratio, say you're playing Donkey Kong or something like that, you can absolutely do that. Or again, you can change the CRT filters, the shaders. But overall, I'm impressed with the streamlined nature of the menus, the fact that there's no bloated extra files on here. It's just straightforward games you want to play, pick them, play them, and enjoy them. So let me show you some of the performance I've got out of this hard drive.
He just knocked him down. A careless pass. Jerry Stackhouse. Hands off to Parks. Way above the rim. Oh, baby, he wanted all of it, and he got it. Detroit up by 3.
And that does it for this video review of this 2TB hard drive. If you're interested in picking up the product, I'll put a product link down the video description box below. And if you enjoyed the content, make sure you hit the like button. Share this video with your friends if you found the information helpful. And as always, thanks for watching, guys. Really means a lot.